Hello there, you 431 wonderful subscribers. Welcome to the channel. My name is Anthony Larkin. Here, you'll find me exploring near-death experiences from individuals who say they have died, travelled to the other side, and then returned. If you are new here, well, thank you for joining. I do hope you enjoyed today's narration. The following narrative is provided in accordance with the Fair Use Doctrine and was sourced from the Near-Death Experience Research Foundation. I shall include a link to this in the description below. The following near-death experience is that of Tiffany Snow. She came from a very strict religious background and never believed in the supernatural. But that all changed when a sudden and profound near-death experience brought her before God in heaven, where she was given knowledge and love beyond understanding. Tiffany said that the best thing that happened in her life was almost losing it. At the time, Tiffany was a successful songwriter and record producer in Nashville when lightning struck her and almost took her life. It resulted in a profound near-death experience where she received the gifts of healing and psychic ability. During her NDE, she discovered her mission in life is to heal, teach, and help others manifest their God-given gifts with power and love in their own lives. The following is a high-level overview of her near-death experience and the events surrounding it in Tiffany's own words found in her book, Psychic Gifts in the Christian Life, Tools to Connect. Again, I shall leave the link for this book in the description. So in Tiffany's words, I will continue. The last thing I remember about the lightning strike itself was doing an uncontrollable electrical dance as all my muscles spasmed and contorted this way and that. I felt no pain. In that split second, I remembered that electrical shocks often stop the heart. So quick thinking, I pivoted around and pushed my chest against the corner of a truck that was parked there, thinking it would start again. But before I could put any weight against it, my eyesight started to narrow, and I felt my body slowly slide down the bumper onto the wet earth, and then all went black. I found myself standing on nothing, way up in the universe, and there were distant colourful planets all around me. I could see misty pinpoints of stars right through my arm when I moved my arm back and forth. It made the stars look wiggly like a reflection on agitated water. I felt dizzy. I had a sense of being able to see not only in front of me, but all around me at the same time. Floating just a few feet from me, I saw a man with a spirit body just like mine. Though he was short and had slanted eyes, he spoke to me with a voice that I heard inside my own head. "Don't be afraid. It's okay," he said. On the other side of me, another spirit person, this one much taller and with chiseled facial features, nodded approvingly at me. All the while, we were moving with great speed towards a great ball of spinning light. It was brilliantly white in the middle and yellowish on the outside edges. The closer we got to it, the more I felt overwhelming love. It seemed so warm and comforting. It encompassed my very being, like the security of a favourite grandfather's arms wrapped around me. We stopped. The bright light was still far from me, and I wanted to go on. I felt like a magnet, irresistibly drawn. The desire to blend had grown stronger the closer we got. I knew it was the very presence of God Himself. Why had we stopped? As I stood there confused, yearning toward the great Almighty beyond my reach, a glowing luminous appeared in front of me. A divine presence was here. A gentle voice called out from this realm of golden sparkles that massed brilliantly in front of me. What have you learned?" he asked, in a non-discriminatory and non-accusing way. The voice was soft and tender, yet the presence of divine authority was there. I knew that was the voice of God's own Son, the empowered Jesus Christ. Then, all of a sudden, life's events unfolded right before my very eyes. Key moments where I showed anger and where I showed love appeared like a movie. I could feel the anger and hurt of the other person whenever I had been mean, and I also felt the anger as it rippled on through to others. I had never before faced the horrid deepness of my own sins. Then, where I showed love to people, I felt that too. How very much further that rippled out from person to person as a warm pulse triggering cause and effect in all things that were wonderful and blessed. I had never before experienced such joy. Then the presence of Jesus said, "The flesh is the test of the Spirit. Love each other." Words of wisdom imparted me. I felt overwhelmed with love and so privileged. I wanted to stay. I wanted to join myself with God's swirling life force. His essence, His heaven, was just beyond the presence of Jesus, but I wasn't allowed to go any further. I wanted to go to God. I wanted to feel more love. "Why can't I be with you now, Father?" I listened as hard as I could listen, waiting for His words. Then, just on the outside of my understanding, I faintly heard voices singing the most beautiful melody I had ever heard in my whole life. I felt a knowing that these were the blessed voices of angels and those who joined with God. I knew it was praise for the Father, but I just couldn't make out what the words were saying. I felt so sad. I knew I was supposed to go back to the earth. I knew I had to make a better movie. I wanted to stay, but there and then I vowed to be a vessel to do only His will, if He could use me. I absolutely gave myself to Him. His will, not my own, would govern the rest of my life. If He could use this broken piece of clay from the earth, it was all His. I totally dedicated myself and surrendered all desires instantly. I felt a childlike sense of wonderment as a warm flood of bliss and peace overpowered me, and a warm tingling sensation filled me to my very toes. What was happening to me? Again, the Spirit on my right side talked into my head, and while I floated there before the Christ consciousness, the very presence of Jesus, the Spirit, told me something that I didn't at all understand. "Welcome to the world of healers," He said. This was a shock. I had no idea what that meant. At this point, the Christ consciousness of Jesus sparkled and faded away, and the stars and space behind His glowing features were visible once again. Such effervescent beauty and colours twinkled around me, like being in the midst of a sparkling aura. So many shapes of heavenly bodies transfixed in the cosmos, all unique and necessary, all untold distances away, yet they felt so close that it seemed I could reach out and pluck them out of the sky and carry them home cupped in my hands. Then the Spirit went on and answered the questions that I was having about this experience. He then pointed out different stars, planets, distant colourful swirling lights of all kinds, and gave me names for all of them. Then He gave me answers to thousands of questions that I never had questions for. Reams of information seemed to be exploding in my brain, like an empty library suddenly being realised. Details flooded my being about many wonderful and sacred things. I wondered were these things newly learned or just remembered. Most of this information I am still trying to integrate and understand. It's almost like trying to learn another language without even being given the basic alphabet for it. So at this point, these are deeper things I have told no one, and I have kept only to myself. Often when in prayer to the Father, I will ask Him to further my understanding on these matters, Yet I get the distinct feeling that true understanding will only be revealed as a need-to-know basis. However, for some reason, a seed was planted within me. I do know some of this information came through as I wrote this down. There are things in here that I never knew that I knew. I must remember that everything he does is for the highest good, always happens when it's the perfect time for it to happen, and that his will is his will, not mine, nor anyone else's for that matter. His is perfect love, personified. I am just a sinful but forgiven, impatient person. But for some reason a groundwork has been laid within me. I know that if he wants me to share this information later on, he will tell me and give me the reasoning ability to articulate and understand it. The spirit who was speaking to me did not offer his name, and I didn't ask. I wanted to be careful to show homage only to the true God and Christ, not to anyone else. I soon felt myself sinking as if falling through a bed. I knew what was happening. I was being pulled back. And with that, I woke up. Tiffany sees the lightning strike that almost killed her as a divine intervention because of the divine gifts she received, which she uses now to help others. She's been using her psychic gifts in working with the FBI regarding the September 11 terrorist attacks. Her psychic abilities were also utilized for a nationally publicized child abduction case. And today, she serves as an ordained minister, a divine healing practitioner, a Reiki master, teacher, and author of 3 books, of which I'll put the links in the description below. Her near-death experience testimony was also filmed in a TV docudrama aired on Pax in spring of 2004. She's been called a modern-day mystic, but she simply refers to herself as a worker for the big guy. Well, that's it from me right now. Anthony Larkin is signing off. I'll take this opportunity to thank you for watching and hopefully see you again on the next video. God bless.